Hello and welcome to Retro TV channel. I'm Stoneboat. This channel is all about classic video games and old school home consoles like the Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, and PlayStation, plus the programming techniques behind them. If you're interested in the technical side of retro gaming hardware and software, make sure to subscribe and stick around. In this video, I'll show you how to unlock the hidden debug room that was disabled in the retail version of Fire Emblem, Mystery of the Emblem, released by Nintendo for the Super Famicom back in 1994. You don't need any programming knowledge at all, just use the source code I provide, and with a single click, you can unlock the debug feature. Here's the original Fire Emblem, Mystery of the Emblem cartridge, released by Nintendo on the 21st of January 1994. At the time, it retailed for 9,500 Japanese yen, which was roughly equivalent to about $102 based on the exchange rate back then. Nowadays, you can play this game using Super Famicom or SNES emulators on your PC or even on your phone. If you want to play on real Super Famicom or SNES hardware, you'll first need to dump the ROM from the original cartridge, copy it onto an SD card, and then run it on the console using flash cartridges, like the Super EverDrive or SD2 SNES. The ROM for this game is 24 megabits in size, and I'll be making another video soon to show you exactly how to dump the ROM from the cartridge. So make sure to subscribe and follow the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And now, here's the step-by-step guide on how to unlock the debug room, just like you saw at the beginning of the video. Before we get started, let me quickly go over the overall workflow. The first step is getting the ROM. You can use ROM dumping tools like the Super UFO Pro 8 to extract it from your cartridge. That said, I won't be going into the details of that process here. I'll just assume you've already dumped the ROM from a cartridge you legally own. Next, you'll need to prepare a few tools to unlock the debug room. First, you'll need any hex editor to check whether the ROM has a header, and to remove that header if it does, you'll also need a text editor in case you want to modify the source code. The built-in notepad on Windows is more than enough for this. And finally, you'll need XCAS to assemble and run the source code. If you downloaded the source from my GitHub page, XCAS is already included, so you don't have to look for it anywhere else. And here's how to download XCAS. There are multiple versions available, but I recommend getting XCAS Plus. Just head over to the GitHub page shown on the screen, then click the Download Zip button in the top right corner to download it to your computer. Next, I'll show you how to use a hex editor to check whether your ROM has a header. Open your ROM file with any hex editor. If the first 512 bytes are all set to 0 like this, that means your ROM has a header, and you'll need to remove it. Don't worry, removing the header won't affect the actual game data at all. Real hardware and emulators don't need that header anyway. Before removing the header, try running the ROM in an emulator first to make sure everything works fine. Then, after deleting the 512 byte header, test the ROM again in the emulator. As you can see, both before and after removing the header, the emulator runs the ROM perfectly with no issues. Alright, let's get back to the workflow. Step 3 is the most important part of the entire process. This is where you'll need the source code to unlock the debug room. Head over to my GitHub page, go into the repositories section, and download the source code from there. Here you'll see a bunch of other source code projects that I'm sharing. But for this video, we're only focusing on the debug room unlock source code for Fire Emblem 3. Downloading it works the same way as XCAS earlier, just grab it from the page the same way. After downloading the source code in step 3, we now move on to step 4, the main step of the entire process. But before that, make sure you extract the folder you just downloaded. After extracting the source code folder, you'll see files like these. At this point, the first thing you should do is open the README file and go through it. It includes detailed instructions in multiple languages on how to carry out the process. And this right here is the text file that contains the source code to unlock the Debug Room. You can change the button combination used to trigger it by editing this assembly code. But if you don't understand what the code does, it's best not to mess with it. And this here is the batch file used to control XCAS. It contains Windows commands that run XCAS, assemble the code from the text file into machine code, and then insert that machine code into your ROM. And this is the unmodified Fire Emblem 3 ROM file. You don't have to keep this exact file name, you can rename it to whatever you like. But if you do change the name, make sure to update it accordingly inside the batch file. After placing the ROM into this folder, just double-click the BAT file. A command window will pop up like this, and a copy of the untouched ROM will be created. The assembly code will then be applied to that copied file. This means your original ROM stays completely untouched, while the copied version will have the Debug Room unlocked. And that's it! You've successfully unlocked the Debug Room in Fire Emblem 3. Now you can run the patched ROM on an emulator, or play it on real Super Famicom or SNES real hardware. Totally up to you. To activate the Debug Room in-game, hold down the Select button on your controller before choosing a command for your character. When you do that, a menu like this will pop up. From here, you can tweak pretty much every battle parameter for both characters. You can apply this Debug Room unlock patch to pretty much any language translation or modified version of Fire Emblem 3, as long as those versions don't alter or overwrite the original Debug Room code that was disabled by the developers. In this Debug Room, you can turn battles into the craziest scenarios you can imagine, stuff you'd never normally see in a regular playthrough. And that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. I'm Stoneboat, a guy with an endless passion for programming retro home console, especially from Nintendo and Sony.